You are now listening to Scheduling Fate, hosted by author and counseling astrologer Jamie Magee. For more information, please go to schedulingfate.com. Hi there, and welcome to Scheduling Fate. I'm your astrologer, Jamie Magee, and today we are going to continue on with our series about manifesting with astrology. Now, we have already worked through the 7 traditional planets, and I do want to explore the outer planets, but in order to really understand those, because they're in place for so long and they're a generational planet, we would want to understand the houses. And to understand the houses, I think a good place to start would be the ascendant. So, the next couple of episodes that you're going to hear in the series is going to be one about the ascendants today. Then we're going to talk about the houses, and then we'll dive into those outer planets so you can really understand how you or your generation manifest in this area of your life using those energies. So, for the last 7 videos, I have ensured that very first intro into why I think this is such an amazing practice, looking at how you work with the law of attraction, how you work with manifestation, how you can be self aware of what you're attracting to you, and how you can work with that energy. I've ensured that intro is in every video. I'm not going to put that in this video. So if you have not heard me talk about this before, I encourage you to find that link underneath here. Go listen to that first video. Go listen to all of them because that'll really help you start to conceptualize how you are consciously or unconsciously attracting. All right, with that being said, I just want to remind you that underneath this podcast, you are going to find a link to a free chart. You're also going to find a link to a free workbook. And if you would like to be part of my Moongate membership for less than $5 a month, get discounts on the reports that are tailored to your personal chart, working with me, a great calendar that you can add with all astrological insights from me on it. That's less than $5 a month. And there's also a link for that. All right, so our topic for today is about the ascendant or the AC. Now, when you are first on a journey of self-exploration and learning your chart, it's easy to understand what your sun sign is. You put in your birthday, you're like, this is me, no doubt about it. The ascendant is a giant leap forward because in order to understand what your ascendant is, your rising sign, you must know what time you were born. And it's not something that you can guess. The universe moves every 4 minutes. Now, with that being said, please do not panic. If you do not know what time you were born, we can still discern a lot. Astrologers can still discern a lot by understanding what planet is in what sign and how those planets are talking to each other, the aspects. And then there's a great tool called rectification that can help us look at your life events and understand what your rising sign is. But that rising sign is the key. It is the doorway. It opens up how your chart is set up. It says this is house 1. And if we know where house 1 is, we know where the other 12 are. And the houses represent areas of our life. A great way to think about this is the house is the stage, the planets are the actors, and the sign is how those planets act on that stage. That's always a good thing to remember when you're first learning astrology. But knowing that first house, we're able to see the flow of how your entire chart works together. And it's remarkable what you can learn from that energy. Now, that first house is all about you. It's yourself. It's how you look. And it's pretty interesting because the way that I tell people, and if you worked with me one-on-one, you've heard this, the sun sign is your crown. It's like what you are adorned with in this life. The moon sign is sort of like where you hold the doctorate or the PhD. That's your instinct. You do it so well. You're masterful at it that you don't even think about it. It naturally happens. But your rising sign, your AC, is sort of like being on the junior varsity team. You're wearing the jersey. Everyone sees you as that. And this is one of those areas where I'm like, the universe has a sense of humor. Because when people meet you, they meet that rising sign. They don't necessarily meet your sun sign. They meet the rising sign. So even though you're the new person on the team, just trying to figure out how to be what your rising sign is, that's the energy that comes out first and just reaches out and smiles. It's the mask that we wear. That's one of the ways that it's described in text. Now, what does this have to do with manifestation? Well, when we look at how the houses are set up, there are houses that are very public. They're things that you can't hide. Like, this is what I look like. These are my partners. This is my family. This is my home work-life balance. Those are public areas of our lives. Those are the public angular houses. This is 1, 7, 4, and 10. These areas impact us on a really powerful level because often, sometimes unfortunately, we're more outwardly focused than inwardly focused. So understanding how these energies are working at these pivotal angular areas helps us understand what we are consciously or unconsciously attracting to us. Now, please keep in mind, this is just one layer. This is just your ascendant, understanding what planets are in these houses and what conversations those planets are having, who they answer to, and who that planet answers to, all adds a very unique, one of a kind experience of this lifetime that you have. There is not another person on this planet that has your chart, your perspective. You're here for a reason in this lifetime, and is to express how you use that energy. But I think that these are great first steps for you to start to understand, okay, this is how I naturally attract. So as we go through the signs, we're going to start at the top and go to the bottom. We're going to look at how you work with this energy. But I encourage you to pull out that free chart that's underneath it or a chart that you already have. Look at the planets that you have in those areas and realize that that is another layer. And also consider what is transiting through that area of your life? Because you may, when we get into the houses, I know we're going to have questions like, I don't have anything in this area. What does that mean? There is going to be something transiting through that area of your life. The moon moves through there every single month, but the rest of the planets, they're going to start talking to it, whether by transit or actually being present in that house. So, understanding these areas of your life is so vital, and understanding these angular areas that we're about to talk about. Those are some big, significant life shifts that come in, or things that are just so in your face, in your awareness. By understanding them, you can say, okay, unconsciously or consciously, this is what I always bring into my life, or this is the stage. Remember, the house is the stage, the sign is how those actors on that stage act. This is what I bring in. And if you know that setting, if you understand that theme, then you can engage to ensure that you are calling in what you want to see more of in your life. So again, there's a free chart underneath this broadcast. There's a link to the original video. There's a great booklet. If you want to work one-on-one with me, there is a great link for you to get discounts on doing that as well. All right, let's dive in. All right, so if you are an Aries rising, your ruling planet is Mars. So I encourage you to find where Mars is in your chart, what sign it's in, how that energy flows through. Always happy to help you with that. This is of cardinal fire energy, which means it initiates, it takes action. You're not afraid of leaping into a new direction. Aries automatically comes with action because it's Mars. It's very bold, it sets clear intentions. And even though it's scared to death, inside, on the outside, it looks like it has everything planned. Now, when it comes to your home life, your foundations, that is ruled by Cancer and it's ruled by the moon. So, emotional security, having something that nurtures you at home so you have the courage to go out and be really bold is important. So, look and see what planets are in that Cancer house. How do you naturally comfort yourself? How deep are your family ties? How shallow are they? Your seventh house, who you naturally partner with. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean romantic. It could be friends. It could be open enemies, people you compete with. It could be your clients. This is Libra. This is an energy for you in your life that needs balance. It needs a harmony and it opposes you. So you may find as an Aries rising that either you are all about me or you're really concerned about the other person. And you will not see this written a lot about Aries risings, but some of their shadow tendencies could be people pleasing. They're so concerned about what this person thinks, or they're trying to overcompensate for being independent that they find themselves off balance. So, with this energy, you may ask yourself, how well do I compromise with others? And some indicators about how you work with that energy, I would encourage you to see where Venus is in your chart and what energy that works with. Now, your 10th house, how you're known in the world, the authority figures that you attract into your life, that type of temperament that you have is Capricorn. It is very much about discipline and long term planning, which is offsetting to that Aries energy, which it should be because this is in a square. So early on in your life, you may have found that you were really good at taking initiative, but authority figures were telling you that you needed to understand why you were taking the initiative anyways. You didn't need to understand how to get from point A to point B or what was going to happen, but you need to have a solid reason why. I am doing this for this reason because Capricorn has a reason for what it's doing. It's trying to build a legacy. It's trying to build something that is timeless. And it understands that you may not have all the directions, but you're going to get there. So I think if you reflect on where Saturn is in your chart, you'll understand the type of authority figures that you're attracting into your life, how you lead or how you are perceived by others. And by knowing that, what can you do about it? How can you change those situations to ensure that you are manifesting consciously? All right. So if you are a Taurus rising, you are ruled by Venus. So it's very important to understand where Venus is in your chart, what that energy is answering to, how it's flowing. Is it visible? Is it hidden? This is a fixed earth sign. So it's grounded and it's practical. It has to be your idea for a change to happen because you do not like change. If anyone ask you to change, you're going to dig your heels in and go just a little bit slower. Now, the first house is your body. And as an earth sign, you are highly aware of your senses and how everything feels on your body, how everything tastes. And because you are, you're really aware of the quality of things that you bring into your body or have on your body or around your body. You're kind of known for that. I have this joke that if you want to know where the best restaurant is or how to get the best deal, find a tourist, rising. Now, when it comes to your home life, you attract a very creative, beautiful, one of a kind energy because it's ruled by Leo. That's that fourth house. So I would encourage you to notice where your sun is and how that energy is manifested. It could be full of joy, warmth, charisma. That's the kind of family environment that you attract to yourself. So, is that working for you or against you? Are you desiring that or do you already have it? And, with this energy, because it's fixed, it's also an area of your life that doesn't like a lot of change either. So, you may find that if you don't have the home life that you want right now, it could be because you're holding on to something that you need to let go of to move forward with. And considering that you have Uranus in your sign right now, I can imagine that that's been a little bit of a challenge. Now, when it comes to your partnerships, you partner really well with someone that you can feel on a soul deep level where words aren't really needed. This seventh house for you is ruled by Scorpio. So I would notice where Pluto is. I would notice where Mars is in your chart because that gives you more layers to the type of friendships or partnerships that you attract into your life. It could be a little bit secretive or mysterious, or I don't really understand this. It's kind of even a little bit provocative in the partnerships that you have. So vulnerability, intimacy, some of that stuff is a little tricky for you. It goes back and forth. And it's been really tricky for you in the recent years because that's where we've had the eclipses. But definitely consider where Mars and Pluto is because that's going to shape some of that mystery that you have when it comes to your partners. Now, the way that people see you or the authority figures that you have naturally attracted into your life are very unique. They're one of a kind. This area of your life is ruled by Aquarius, which is about to go through some powerful shifts over the next 20 years as Pluto completely moves into this area. It's about being one of a kind, thinking outside of the box, being completely who you are and being unapologetically who you are, but transfixed in the position that you're in. So you could have had some quirky parents that were out of the box. You could have had some quirky bosses that you work with, but you're intrigued by how they make your mind work. And because of that, it influences how you lead in your life. So kind of think about how you can use all these energies. What type of people have you attracted in? Is that working for you or against you? Now, if you are a Gemini or a Gemini rising, you are ruled by Mercury. So it's very important for you to know where Mercury is in your chart, what house, what sign, what is that energy answering to? Now, this is mutable air, which means that you kind of dangle between two worlds, endings and beginnings. You're very sociable. You understand how to connect with people where they are. But because you do that so well, sometimes people think that you lack just a little bit of depth. And that's probably something that you're very conscious of or self-conscious of. Now, the thing is, all of these public areas in your life are also mutable. So it could feel to you like you're behind the curve or ahead of the curve. You're looking back at your friends that maybe have a Taurus rising or this other fixed energy and say, you know what? They lock in on something. My foundation, my partnerships, my career, it's always shifting. Why? Well, it's shifting because it's meant to. But by understanding those energies, you can ask yourself, how can I shift? How can I manifest in a way where I feel natural and at home with this energy? So, Gemini energy, it's all about intellectual growth, really getting enough information to find comfort and understanding in the people that you're around. Now, when it comes to your home, this is a Virgo energy, which is also ruled by Mercury, but it's very detailed oriented. It's black and white, it's clean, it's organized, unless it's sort of escaping into that other Piscean energy. But it could also be a little bit critical. You could have had critical parents. One of your parents could have been very critical, or you could be the critical person in your home. And with this energy, you want to assure at your home base that you are noticing what is working more than what is not working because Virgo always remembers the feedback that it gets. So, what kind of feedback are you giving? Because that's the feedback you're going to receive. Now, when it comes to your partnerships, you love that fiery, quick action of Sagittarius type people. These are wisdom speakers. They're blunt, they're truthful, they call it like it is. And one of the reasons you're so attracted to this energy is because it's the opposite of who you are as an individual. You kind of get locked into the duality. It could be this way, it could be that way. And Sagittarius, your partners, people you compete with, they're like, you know what? It's all the ways. This is this big, wide open story. I would encourage you to notice where Jupiter is in your chart because that's going to give you some more information about who you naturally partner with and not necessarily romantic. Now, when it comes to your reputation, your sense of purpose, that sole purpose, the career, things you do for money, but also another period in your life, that area of your life is ruled by Pisces. So I would encourage you to look again for where Jupiter is, but also look where Neptune is, the modern ruler. This will give you some more indicators of what you have naturally attracted into this area of your life, but it'll also help you understand how you are unconsciously or consciously leading other people. Now, Pisces has a reputation for at times being a martyr, for being self sacrificing, for ensuring that everyone else feels good and not really checking in with who they are. Do you have a leader in your life that does that? And are you naturally leading this way? Or are you leading with a lot of compassion? Are you able to stand next to someone and say, I feel you, but I'm not absorbing your energy? This is a creative sign, it's a spiritual sign. It likes to escape. When it comes to your career, do you escape or do you have a career that says you must escape? Do you write things? Do you create things? It's a really interesting kind of energy to consider what you're attracting. And right now, with Saturn transiting through that area, you may be going through some tough lessons with how you put up healthy boundaries in your career. Now, on the other hand, with Jupiter in your sign, there's a lot of opportunities to go in different directions. All right. So if you are a Cancer or a Cancer rising, you are ruled by the moon. And so it's important for you to know where the moon is in your chart. And if you've worked with me, you've heard me say this. I think having the Cancer as a sun, moon, or rising sign has got to be one of the most challenging and one of the most hackable energies to work with. It's challenging because your ruling planet, who rules your entire chart, changes signs every 2.5 days. So it's like being on an emotional roller coaster or a roller coaster of focus. Like, I'm focused on this. Now I'm focused on this. I want that. I didn't want that. Now, the reason I say it's one of the most hackable signs is that if you track the moon, if you understand, hey, the moon's in this sign and it's in a good mood or a bad mood, then that helps you frame what you're walking into across those couple of days. You'll know I should do this or I shouldn't do this, or it's recommended to do this or not do this. And that way you won't feel like you're behind or ahead of the ball. You'll feel like you have some sense of rhythm as you work with your life, which is one of the reasons I started the Moon Gateway membership, but also have the Moon Gateway podcast. So I recommend that you listen to that every Sunday. Now, this is a cardinal water sign. It has a lot of emotion to it, a lot of family ties to it. So when people meet you, they meet a nurturing person, someone who's very protective and compassionate. Now, at the same time, you could have a really hard outer shell, and only certain people can see that energy behind the scenes. There's probably something very interesting about the relationship that you have with mothers or mother figures in your life and how you work with those. And I would ask, is this hindering you or is this helping you? Because either way, it was a lesson that you were meant to walk with. And that's a karmic one that you want to dig into a little bit. Now, speaking of karmic energies, that fourth house, your home, your foundation, this is a Libra energy. It's ruled by Venus. So, in this area of your life, you're always looking for diplomacy. You're looking for harmony and balance. And it could be that as soon as you feel like you have it, or you finally get someone in your home base to agree with you, that you find yourself shifting to the other side. You're looking for harmony. And I would encourage you, when it comes to your home, when it comes to your roots and your foundations, look for a middle ground. And what I mean by that is, if you are clear on who you are and what you have emotions tied to and why, then you can be in harmony with yourself, which will attract something or someone else, that home base, to be in harmony with themselves. You don't want either side to be codependent when it comes to your home base. And if you reflect back on your early childhood or a parent, you're going to see something that you really liked or something that really challenged you with that Libra energy. You could have really fallen in love with the idea of harmony and balance, but are constantly seeking it in your life. So reflecting on that, reflecting on where Venus is, can give you some more understanding of what you are consciously manifesting and unconsciously manifesting. In other words, why do you want your home to be that way? And what can you do to make it that way? Now, when it comes to partners, friends, open enemies, this area of your life is ruled by Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So, where is Saturn in your chart and what does that energy answer to? This can make partnerships, our connections, a little bit of a challenge, meaning that it doesn't come easy. You have to work for these connections, one grain of sand at a time. But once you lock in and you build something, you're building something that's meant to last. It's timeless, it's endless. Nothing comes easy with Saturn, but it's always worth it when it comes to these partnerships, but also like the network that you're associated with, how you think and how you approach life. So I would ask you, how hard are you being on yourselves when it comes to these partnerships? And this energy is a little bit harsh because it's opposite of your rising sign. So where you have these emotional connections, I can't explain why I do what I do, but I do this because it makes me feel comfortable. You more than likely are attracting partners in your life that says, give me a reason why. We have to have a system here. We have to have a structure here. And emotions and feelings, things that are you're really known for, that watery soul deep energy of a Cancer rising cannot conceptualize that for its partner. So that's where you can have a little bit of a tug of war, but there's also something you can learn from your partners and something your partners can learn from you. So keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to your 10th house, the highest level in your chart, how you're known in the world, your sole purpose, how authority figures that you have attracted or you're working with in your life, this is ruled by Aries. So you are attracted or you are seen as a pioneer, someone who may be scared to death on the inside, but takes charge, takes action, and says, you know what, I'm going to figure it out when I get there. I'm going to follow my heart and I'm going to understand what this is. It's very bold and action oriented and can very much be the life of the party. You may have leaders, or you could be a leader that looks as if you're standing alone, but you understand you have all of these support systems. You have these partnerships that you have built over time. You really seek to have harmony at your home. So you have this home work life balance and you have a lot of emotion and compassion and nurturing capacity in that rising sign that you have. So as you can see, it's an interesting rising sign to have. All right. So if you are a Leo rising, you are ruled by the sun, you are fixed fire. That creative energy, and I think it's really interesting, is that the rising sign often depicts how we look as well. You may have like amazing hair. I think it's lion, the mane that you have. You have a confidence, a self expression, this ability to be very creative and fiery. The room looks the way you feel. And I hope you always feel good because we don't want to chaos in our surroundings. Now, when it comes to the all corners of your life, these angular areas of your life, it is all fixed energy, which means you do not like these areas in your life to change. So when transits trigger them and push you towards change, it could feel a little bit like a crisis energy that you're working with. And all fixed energy has been going through quote unquote crises. They had Saturn transiting through one of them, they had the eclipses either in them or squaring, and then now they have Pluto moving in for a long stay. So just keep in mind, I'm a person that doesn't like to change, but when I need to change, how can I change this? Because working against the changes are going to stress these public areas of your life. Now, when it comes to your home, I would reflect on the childhood you had. I would reflect on the home that you are creating now. This is ruled by Scorpio. So notice where Pluto and notice where Mars are in your chart. Now, Scorpio is one of the most protective parents that you're going to find. They nurture and watch over who they love almost to a possessive or obsessive level, but I don't think that that's necessarily negative when it comes to protecting your family and your roots and your foundation. There could be a little bit of mysterious energy there that you don't understand, that you're always trying to unravel. And once you feel like you understand an ancestry or a family story, there's another level to it. Notice what you attract there and notice how you are repeating those patterns and what patterns that you would want to stop. Now, when it comes to your partnerships, those one to one connections, not necessarily romantic, this is an Aquarian energy. So notice where both Saturn and Uranus are on your chart. That's going to give you more indicators of how you partner with other people. Now, like you, Aquarius likes to be one of a kind, but it also likes to break the norm, to think outside the box, to break something down so it can create something new, which it could be a little bit frustrating, especially in the creative process. It could be that you've noticed this pattern in your life that as soon as you get this creative thing off the ground, you get an insight or an intellect or someone says something and it changes the entire perspective. So you have to break it down to build it back up. But you do attract eccentric partnerships into your life, which I think is pretty awesome. Definitely kind of reflect on who you have in your life and how they can continue to support that creativity and inspire you. Now, when it comes to your career and how you're known in the world, how people perceive you, and this could also be a parent or how something it's a learned behavior. Think about the leaders that you have had in your life or how you lead now. This is ruled by Taurus. So notice where Venus is in your chart and how that energy is working. Taurus is also a fixed sign, but it's earth, it's grounded, it's all about value, skill, style. This is worth it. People look at you and you're like, wow, wow, look at how they have that together. There's an aesthetic energy to you that is absolutely priceless, but it's also fixed. You don't like change, but you like value. And that really speaks to all of your chart and all the places in between. Definitely think about a parent or a leader that's also inspired that and ask yourself, what did you like about their leadership? And what did you find challenging? Because it's up to you to change that course. And because you're a fixed sign, it's going to take you a little bit of self-realization to get to that point where you're ready to change it, where you're ready to change and also alter what you're manifesting in your life. All right. So if you are a Virgo or a Virgo rising, you are an earth sign. So your energy works between what was and what will be there. And you're really good at organizing and saying, okay, this is broken and this is how we fix it. You're ruled by Mercury. Now, I would encourage you to figure out where Mercury is in your chart, what sign it answers to, how that energy flows through, because that's going to give you even more indicators about how you work with this energy. I would also pay attention to where Gemini is in your chart because Mercury also rules that area. Now, when people meet you, they often see someone who has it all together. At least they think that you have it all together. You have the answers. And if you don't have the answers, you know how to get to that next step. There are so many different careers or things that you can be passionate about with this energy. I've seen great editors, I've seen great accountants, I've seen a lot of great interior designers. Like noticing the little things is something that you're good at, but you're also good at noticing the things that are wrong. I would encourage you, if you do notice, or you have this tendency to say, this is every way this could break, think about every solution that could come in. Notice the opportunities more than the challenges. Now, when it comes to your home life and really reflect on the childhood you have in the home that you're building now, you need a lot of freedom and a lot of space. This is ruled by Sagittarius. So notice where Jupiter is in your chart, but it's also in an environment that cultivates learning and self expression. And it taught you to own your truth, to explore your truth, and not to be afraid to speak up and say what it is, which is can be a challenging depending on how your Mercury works in your chart. Now, who you partner with naturally, those one to one connections, is ruled by Pisces. So notice where Jupiter is in your chart. Notice where Neptune is in your chart. This is an indicator that says that you are looking for someone who is free on a spiritual level, someone who is compassionate and understanding and creative and insightful, someone who gives you a great escape from all that detail and that tension that you feel in your life, whether this is a friend or a romantic partnership or someone that you just admire from a distance because they're so opposite of who you are. Think about the partnerships that you're attracting into your life. How critical are you of them? What do you admire? And how can you focus on this energy and change what you are bringing in so that you feel more aligned? Now, when it comes to your leadership, your soul purpose, how you're known in the world, that 10th house in your chart as a Virgo rising is ruled by Gemini. And this could be really frustrating for you because Gemini is duality. It's this and it's that. And having a 10th house in Gemini means that you are not good at one thing, you are good at a lot of things. And sometimes in our society, that could be very challenging because it is changing now. But when I was coming up, you were supposed to be good at one thing and one thing only and do it for this many years and retire and move on. So when you're going through school or when you're trying to figure out this is my path, it's really hard for you to zero in on something. And it was probably a parent that frustrated you even more because it may have frustrated you that one of your parents or authority figures in your life couldn't settle on one thing either. And you're thinking, I'm going to be different. But your chart says you're not meant to be different. You're meant to be good at all of these things. So embrace what's speaking to your heart now. Do everything you can to support that energy and be willing to adjust and grow in a new direction when that karmic time calls your name. All right. So if you are a Libra rising, you are ruled by Venus. So it's very important for you to notice where Venus is in your chart, what that energy is answering to. Now, this first house, you have a great harmony, a great balance in how you try to approach the world. You're very diplomatic. You're good at negotiating. You're good at meeting people where they are. Now, when it comes to a group of people, sometimes that can overwhelm you. You may be the most quiet person in the room, but once somebody gets you one on one, you just let this beautiful light, this beautiful Venus energy shine through you. It's really one of my favorites. Now, when it comes to your home and your foundations, that's a little bit different because this is ruled by Capricorn. I would encourage you to notice where Saturn is in your chart and how you work with those energies. There's probably something timeless in this area, something karmic, a legacy that you're building, but may not have felt all that warm and cushy and nurturing as you brought it in. You are actually probably the light that came into this area of your life, but you still feel like you have to have stability, an ever growing, let's start something new stability when it comes to your home life. Now, when it comes to your partnerships, your one on one, this energy is opposite of you. So you may find that you are always admiring it. And that's Aries, it's ruled by Mars. Where you look for partnerships, your partnerships look for being independent. It's about me. I'm going to take this leap forward. I'm going to follow my instinct. And I don't know if I can support you as I go on this journey because I don't know where I'm going to go on this journey. And you could find that you admire that in your partners or it frustrates you, probably a little bit of both. But understanding that these are the type of people that you are going to continuously attract into your life and knowing where Mars is in your chart and how that energy activates will help you understand, all right, if these are the partners I have, now that I know that, how can I co-create and how can I harmonize with them? Now, when it comes to your career and how you're known in the world, this is ruled by Cancer. So not only do you have this Libra energy that's very diplomatic, that how you approach your life, but people know you as being a nurturer, as being a protector, as someone who has all the answers and understands how everyone is connected. You may find that you're the person that knows everyone's secrets as well. And that could feel like a heavy weight for you because you know everyone's secrets, you understand where they're coming from. And because you do, it's hard to make decisions when it comes to your career. I'll also tell you that this quarter of your life is ruled by the moon. So if you have big career decisions or if you have big family decisions to make, sit with them for a couple of days and ask yourself, once that moon moves into a new sign, do I still feel that way? Because if you do, then you know that you need to make decisions. Now, when it comes to eclipses, new moons, and full moons, you really feel this on that career base. It's a very public energy. It's hard for you to harmonize and balance through it because the universe is changing around you. But by being aware of this, then you can weather the storm. You can use the storm to your benefit. You'll know when to rest and when to reach and how to harmonize once the storm or the rain or the shift is over. All right. So if you are a Scorpio or a Scorpio rising, your ruling planet traditionally is Mars and your modern ruling planet is Pluto. So I would encourage you to notice where those are in your chart because they're going to give you a lot of different layers about how you work with this rising sign. But this is a fixed water energy. Now, the first house is how you present yourself to the world. So you may have this mysterious allure, this attraction, this magnetism where everyone looks your way. But ironically, that sort of makes you uncomfortable. Now, some people like it. Some people are like, yes, I love that I have this allure to me. And some people are like, well, why are you staring at me? This energy gives you a lot of intensity, a lot of focus on transformation, your personal power, and you have a way of reinventing yourself. Like if you were to go back throughout your life, there's different phases where you have a completely different view or outlook or how you approach the world in general. Now, when it comes to your home and your foundation, that area of your life is ruled by Aquarius. Now, Aquarius, you would want to look to see where both Saturn and Uranus are because there's two energies. One is traditional and one is modern of that foundational area of your life. So this has a lot to do with your early childhood, your home, but also the home that you created or how you like your environment or where your nest is, in other words. And because it is Aquarius energy, it could be a little bit unconventional, which is an interesting word in our modern times, but there's something unique and one of a kind about how you put everything together. It could be very intellectual as well. There's a lot about innovation and personal freedom, but it's also committed. It's like we are locked in. You can be who you are, I can be who I am, but we're locked in. You need commitment and loyalty, but also the freedom to be original when it comes to your home base. Now, when it comes to your relationships or your partnerships, those one to one connection, this is ruled by Taurus. So you're looking for where Venus is in your life because that'll help flavor some of these social engagements, these one on one connections that you have. Now, this is the opposite of your energy. So there's a little bit of a yin yang tug of war that you feel with it. Taurus is also very alluring and magnetic. It's very aesthetic. It's a Venus energy. It attracts beauty to it. And as a Scorpio rising, you may be thinking, how does my partner always attract all this to this? Or I don't want the same attention that they have, but there's a little bit of envy and there's a little bit of, I wouldn't do that, but I understand how you do that energy where you go back and forth. And that individuality and who you are as a partner, as I'm recording this in recent years, that was really challenging because that's where we had the North and South node. We had the eclipses, and you also had Saturn right there at your home base squaring you. So you had some tremendous changes that were a tug of war between the past and the future and healthy boundaries that you've been working with in recent years, and you may be still adjusting those. And it could be that how you were manifesting up until this point had to be altered. And instead of anticipating what's coming next when it comes to partnerships, home, and who you are, you're bracing. And I encourage you to anticipate instead of bracing. Now, this is also a very grounded and steady energy, so it could you could feel at times like your partner gives you an anchor in reality. Now, when it comes to your career and how you're known in the world, I've always thought this is another indicator that the universe has a sense of humor. A Scorpio rising, private, mysterious, alluring, not really comfortable with everyone looking their way, but yet their 10th house, how they're known in the world, is Leo. It's what is ruled by the sun. So notice where the sun is in your chart. You cannot help but shine in any room that you go in. You're original, you're creative, you're one of a kind. You have a confidence about you, even if you're scared to death. People are like, they know what they're talking about and they lean in a little bit closer. Even if you want your personal space, they lean in. Now, every one of these energies has a shadow and a light. So there could have been a leader in your past that maybe you thought should have been more humble, or maybe they should have stood out a little bit more. Think about those past leaders, maybe a parent in your life. How did they do their Leo? And how do you want to do your Leo as you lead through your legacy? All right. So if you are a Sagittarius or a Sagittarius rising, you are mutable fire and you're ruled by Jupiter. So notice where Jupiter is in your chart, what house that is. because that helps indicate another layer of how you approach your entire chart. Now, that Sagittarius first house, it really defines how you look and how you approach your life. So you may have this warm, beautiful smile. There could be some part of your body or your physical stance that's bigger than life. You just have this great, joyous approach to how you handle things. You have a great way of manifesting through optimism and through adventure. You may even like to travel, but you definitely like to learn and expand your overall horizons and how you approach life in general. Everything is a quest, it's an adventure. You want to know their truth and you want to be able to express your truth. Now, when it comes to your home, this is ruled by Pisces. So that is another Jupiter, the ruler of your ascendant, traditionally rules Pisces as well. But I would also notice where Neptune is. You may feel really comfortable around water or around horses or around a spiritual environment. It kind of takes you out of the grounded 3D world and it speaks to that philosophy that you're naturally attracted to. So kind of think about your home life, the one that you came from, the one that you have created. What do you like about it? What would you want to change? How can you ensure that that dynamic is supporting everything you want to manifest? Because it's the roots that you grow from. Now, when it comes to your partnerships, your one to one connections, this is ruled by Gemini. That's the house there. So you'd want to pay attention to where Mercury is in your chart. It's a mutable energy, it's intellectual. So you like partners that kind of bring you out of that wide scope of Sagittarius and say, look at the details, look at the little things. There's wisdom and truth in duality and looking at this side and that side. Now, because it opposes you, it could feel like a tug of war at certain times. You could be telling your partner it's all one big truth, and your partner's saying, come on, let's look at the little things. It's a back and forth energy that you're working with. There's something you can learn from your partners, and there's something that they can learn from you. Focus on the type of energy that you're bringing into these social circles and ask yourself, how do you need to change it? It could just be a little bit of perspective. Change it if you want to change it. If you love it, keep doing it. Now, when it comes to how you're known in the world, your reputation or authority figures that you are attracting, or even a parent that you had, this is ruled by Virgo. And it could be a little bit challenging for you because Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So knowing where Mercury is in your chart is important. But Virgo has a tendency to almost point out some of the things that are wrong, or you notice that they are like, you know what, fix this, and this, and this. So for a Sagittarius, that's overwhelming because they feel like I can't fix all these little details. I'm meant to fly. I'm meant to see this wide open horizon. And it could really bring you down into reality a little bit more harsher than you want to, especially in your younger years. Now, when you get older, you may realize that that wide open, what wise view that you have and everything that your partners have taught you and the spirituality that you've learned at your home has helped you realize all of those beautiful details. It's helped you recognize patterns and how you put things together to speak a language of the universe or the language of love or partnerships, you name it. But there's more than likely a Virgo leader in your life at some point or even now. And ask yourself, what do you like about how they lead? And how would you change it? How can you attract different leaders? Or how can you learn from the situation so you can fully step into that sense of purpose that you have in this lifetime? All right. So if you are a Capricorn or a Capricorn rising, you are ruled by Saturn. So notice where Saturn is in your chart. That'll give you another layer of how you are perceived or how you approach all the energy in your chart. This is Earth, it's cardinal, it's initiating, it likes to start things, but it's not afraid of hard work. You may come across as someone who has, you may come across to people, or you may feel that this is your approach in general of being very responsible and self-disciplined. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. You're not afraid of the hard work. You're not afraid of the long-term goals. You know that you manifest through discipline. Now, when it comes to your home or the home that you came up in or the home that you're creating now, this is an Aries energy, which means that it's very fiery, it's independent, it's playful. It's like, let's go on this adventure. Let's figure out what we can do with a lot of courage and have fun as a family. So there's something new about it. You may be the first one that does something. You may be the one that breaks a pattern and creates a new legacy when it comes to your home. Or you can just have a very fiery, athletic, driven parent that you have learned from too. Either one can work. Just kind of dig into that energy a little bit more. Notice where your Mars is. Notice how that is speaking to your chart. What is it attracting in? What do you like and what do you want to change? Now, when it comes to your partnerships, those one to one connections, these can also be people that you're in competition with, but it could be friends and social circles. This is a Cancerian energy, and it's a little bit mystifying to you, where you're about practical reality, do this, and you get this result. Cancer is like it's emotions, and it's about the soul deep connection, and it cannot be defined. You cannot put a system and structure behind it. You cannot say, I'm going to be sad this hour and happy this hour. Emotions blend. It's an ocean, it's water, it all moves together. All that to say, there's something that you can learn from your partners, and there's something that your partners can learn from you. But in order to build something that's meant to last, we have to dial into our emotions. We have to feel those long term, soul deep connections. So ask yourself, what kind of partners are you attracting? What are you learning from them? What do you want to change about these situations? Or what do you want to build on? It's a word for you that's already working. Now, when it comes to your career and how you're known in the world, you are ruled by Venus in this area of your life because that's the Libra house. And Libra is diplomacy, it's balance, it's harmony. It's like you win and I win. Let's find harmony together. Now, where this can be challenging is where you overcompromise or you have those in your life over compromising to meet your needs. And when you do that, then you're going to have the scales mismatched and misbalanced because the universe wants ultimate harmony. It doesn't want anyone or anything to be codependent on anything but independent in its soul and its mission and its karmic purpose in this life. So you may realize that your manifestation has been a little bit of a seesaw back and forth through your life, or you could have had a parent or an authority figure in your life where you're thinking, you know what, they were too diplomatic. They should have done this. They should have thought about me, myself, and I. Or maybe they should have been less concerned with their personal needs and more concerned with everyone's needs. There's probably a back and forth energy that you have observed and what you are attracting into your life. And it's also good to kind of think about because you are a Capricorn and you are building legacy to think about how others see you when it comes to this. Do they think that you're a harmonizing person or do they think it's a challenge to harmonize with you? Because that perception can help you alter what you are consciously or unconsciously manifesting into your life. But you do best by focusing on harmony and balance and bringing beauty into your leadership. Now, if you are an Aquarius rising, your modern ruler is Uranus, but your traditional ruler is Saturn. So I would definitely encourage you to notice where those are in your chart because that's going to add layers into how you approach all of the areas of your life. Now, an Aquarius rising is one in a million. It's one of a kind. It is fixed mental air. It's meant to stand out. It's meant to be original. It's meant to think outside the box, to be the revolution that takes us into a needed change. And sometimes, almost always, that change is before its time. So you manifest or you really thrive when you think outside the box, when you have future oriented goals. That's how you attract success to you. That's how you attract original, one of the kind ideas to you. Now, your home base, your foundation, and your roots, that is ruled by Taurus. Now, I will say, because you're a fixed rising sign, all corners of your life are going to be fixed energies. You're not a fan of change. And if change has to happen, you want it to be your idea. So you try to plan a long term out, but transits are not really on your time scale. There's going to be transits that come through that rock your boat and say it's time to change whether you are ready or not. And that can make these four corners a little bit challenging. But when it comes to your home or your foundations, this is fixed earth energy and it's ruled by Venus. So notice where Venus is in your chart. That's going to give you some more indicators of what you like your home life to be like or what you are consciously or unconsciously attracting into this area of your life. It is very stable. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's comforting. It feeds the senses. You feel relaxed by having valuable things or things that are of value to you that support your body, your physicality around you and your family environment. And you probably had a parent or some kind of authority figure when you were really young that has inspired or reflected that this brings comfort. So you continue to work with this energy. When it comes to your partnerships, your one to one connections, whether that is romantic or friendships or competition, this is Leo energy. Leo energy is also one of a kind, but it's very creative. It's ruled by the sun. Notice where the sun is in your chart. It has this natural tendency to shine, to say, this is me, like it or not. And there's something about that energy that is perplexing to you because they don't really care about the outcome. But as an Aquarius rising, you have that airplane view. You're able to see how all of the social structures are connected, are the systems of the world and how they're connected. So you are very careful about how you engage or where you let your light shine. But your partner is like, I'll be damned. Let me shine as bright as I can. Let me be one of a kind. And there's something that you can learn from that that's going to really help you express your rising sign. Notice what you like, notice what you dislike, and ask yourself, how am I unconsciously or consciously attracting these partnerships? And what can I do to build on them in a positive way? Now, when it comes to how you're known in the world, your reputation, the authority figures you have, maybe even an early parent or teacher or coach, or the bosses that you have now, this is ruled by Scorpio. So notice where Mars and Pluto are in your chart. because this will add another layer to this sense of soul purpose, of destiny, of how you lead and how you are meant to lead others and how it blankets over your entire chart. This is an energy that is magnetic and alluring, a little bit magical, a lot mysterious. And it has this tendency to not be afraid to go into the shadows and say, this is what it looks like. Let's talk about it. Let's transform. Let's grow through this energy. So that adds to that unique quality that your rising sign gives you because there's something very attractive and magnetic about you, but also so mysterious that it's not really sure that it has the honor of being close enough to you to understand who you are. So ask yourself, how am I using this power in my life? Am I using it in a positive way or in a challenging way? Do I allow people to get close to me or do I have too many walls up? And think about the leaders that you've had. What did you like about how they led in your life? And what did you find challenging? And how would you do it differently? Because this is your energy to use as well. And what they've taught you is very valuable and very mysterious because it's Scorpio energy. All right. So if you are a Pisces rising, this is mutable water. You are traditionally ruled by Jupiter and your modern ruler is Neptune. So I would encourage you to notice where both of those are in your chart. Now, sometimes it's very easy to spot a Pisces because they have these beautiful big eyes. They have an alluring energy that is very spiritual and creative. It's not always optimistic. Sometimes it's a beautiful darkness of sadness and compassion for humanity, but it has this tendency to say that all are welcome. Come in closer. I'm going to take care of you. You manifest really well when you focus on your spirituality, when you focus on the outcome that you want to bring into your life. Now, when it comes to your home life, your foundation, the roots where you nest, Gemini, that house is Gemini. So I encourage you to notice where Mercury is in your chart because that's going to give you another layer to this energy. Now, it could be that you had two homes growing up, or you have two homes now, or that your whole life is surrounded by children and youthful ideas, or you're comfortable around learning different data points or understanding different viewpoints all at the same time. It's an adaptable lifestyle. You're able to be flexible and have variety and connect with different situations or people throughout your life. You probably have a parent or an authority figure coming up that was really sociable. And at times that could have overwhelmed you, or it could have been something that really helped you come out of your shell and say, yes, I feel this way too, or understand humanity and have compassion for those situations. Now, when it comes to your partnerships, those one on one connections, this is the opposite energy of your rising. So there's a little bit of a tug of war with this energy where you are great at escaping and being creative and kind of building worlds in your mind or really tapping into your faith and your spirituality and not being grounded in reality. That Virgo partner is locked in, almost imprisoned in reality. They see the black and white. They see everything that needs to change to get us from point A to point B. Sometimes they can be very critical. They can say, do this, and that. And you may not feel as if you are satisfying them or the situation in any way. Like you cannot be you and be in this partnership at the same time. But there's something for you to learn from this partner. And there's definitely something for those partners to learn from you. And it's a harmonizing middle balance that says, you know what? We're not always perfect. But if we have the faith, we're going to get from one point to the next. So kind of think about what you've learned from your partners, what you're attracting in with those partnerships, and how you would want to manifest or change that. All right. So when it comes to your career and your reputation, your authority, that sense of purpose, or how you're known in the world, this area of your chart, that house is Sagittarius. So it's ruled by Jupiter. Now, we've covered Jupiter in the manifesting series, but Jupiter is optimistic, it's lucky, it's a magnet that attracts things to you. But the thing is, Jupiter doesn't know the difference between positive and negative. Whatever you focus on, this planet amplifies. And it's likely that you've gone through some big career transitions, but they've all in some way or another been connected to wisdom and truth, sometimes blunt truth, maybe a little bit of travel and philosophy and understanding how we are all connected, which complements your rising sign because Jupiter is a traditional ruler of Pisces. But you may have had a parent that you felt was just a little bit over the top, a little bit too blunt, a little bit too truthful. You may have had bosses like that. You may have felt that there was parents or authority figures that were too lost inside of the text or the books or the philosophy and they didn't share their wisdom, or maybe somewhere in the middle. Whatever these authority figures have taught you or imprinted on you, that's something you want to dial into because it's going to help you understand what you are consciously or unconsciously manifesting when it comes to how you are known in the world and how you lead others. This is a very powerful energy because it touches every corner of your life, that leadership, that soul purpose. It plays into your home work life balance. It plays into who you partner with and how you partner with them, but it also layers and flavors that natural Pisces energy. All right, so there's one thing that I want to say, and I think it's because I have so many Pisces risings or Pisces around me, is that this energy is very beautiful and compassionate and sometimes self sacrificing. But one of the things that it likes to do or tends to do unconsciously is mimic or mirror those that it's around. And if you are aware that you are doing this, then ask yourself, what kind of people or situations would you like to reflect? Would you like to merge with? So this means having really healthy leaderships and partnerships and a really healthy foundation so that you can express yourself. And that doesn't mean that you don't know how to be an individual or that you can't be an individual. It just means that when you hang out with someone, you may mimic how they talk, or you may be interested in what they're interested in because it adds layers into some kind of wisdom or spiritual truth that you're trying to find. But it's important to know where those boundaries are, and they're hard to find as a Pisces rising. All right, that is all the signs. And wow, I don't think that I anticipated it to be this long or this much information. We may have to break it down. But if you take home anything, and if you're still listening, I really want you to appreciate the ascendant is the doorway into your chart. And by understanding that doorway, you open up all kinds of different ways of understanding how you are consciously and unconsciously manifesting. Again, there's a free chart underneath this broadcast. There's also a booklet. And as we move forward with this series, we're going to really look at the houses because the houses are the stage that the planets are acting on, and the signs are how they are acting. Okay, until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I do hope you found some tips and insights. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you can find this podcast in the future. You can also connect with me at schedulingfate.com. Look forward to seeing you there and next time.